10, the Sunday slate. We are done with Thursday night football. Thank God. We are coming off a little bit of a hot streak, even after the yard heartbreak last night. We're here to find some more winners for Sunday. It is a glorious slate. Let's head over to the underdog board, find some pick'em winners. This is the Player Profiler Pick'em Power starting now. Welcome back to the Player Profiler Pick'em Power Hour, where we are coming off a Thursday night football that, honestly, we took advantage of how bad that game was. We found some value spots. Honestly, our reads were just spot on. We had a pick'em entry that we collabed on in our last. Are we good on volume?
No, you're.
We are back. Anyway, Jimbo treats or Jimbo threats. What's up? Sounds like we're back live. Good thing this
We're
is
back.
Good thing this is the bonus show. We don't have to upload this as a podcast. Anyway, we're back. And the mic issues kind of summarized the night, which was last night, Thursday Night Football. We came off some good reads for sure. Chuba Hubbard, over 16.5 receiving yards. The line moved while we were on the show, which is, I'm going to keep the show so fast-paced today so that we don't get a yard moved on us during the show. And then you gave out DJ Moore, and it was that was pretty much sweat-free, getting a lot of targets out there. Trevor, any thoughts on that game? Should we talk about it more? Or?
I mean, Bryce Young, if he's lucky, will be Baker Mayfield one day. That's like, I actually just like small unit bets, like 0.1 units. We bet like in a 0.25. We bet some touchdown passing stuff for him yesterday. If I ever do that again, just punch me in the face. That was the nut matchup, and he didn't get there. It perfectly described the night, right? Like Chuba, they should have been targeting him all night. I mean, he's missing 7-yard outs. Meanwhile, you have a guy that when he's getting the ball is getting 3, 4, 5, 6 yards. They really weren't able to run on Chicago. Chuba should have had 7 receptions for 50, 60 yards last night. That's how they should have got the running game going. It's not all Bryce. I would say 85%. The other 15 is just Frank Wright shouldn't be calling plays. Like that showed it last night, and I'm glad that dumpster fire is over. So we could move on because I actually really like this slate for Sunday.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that on Thursday Night Football, this is the thing, right? It's actually kind of impressive that we've been doing well on Thursday Night Footballs because Thursday Night Football is always a crapshoot with one thing or another, but especially with running backs. The rotation that the Panthers were using with Raheem Blackshear, Miles Sanders, and Chuba Hubbard, basically just an even rotation, especially through the first half. That was surprising to me, and that's why Chuba Hubbard, I mean, he was running the routes when he was there on those downs, but yeah, like you said, Bryce Young not making those good decisions. If you are not in the Player Profiler Discord, you didn't see this one. I posted this before the game, a little 4-pick sprinkle, just because why not? Because we're degens. This is what we do. And it hit. So it kind of soothed some of the damage from that 2-pick. So if you want to see these plays, if you want to get early leans for Sunday, some of these have already moved by a yard, and now we know how valuable 1 yard can be. Earlier this afternoon, we posted our early leans for Sunday to the Underdog Pick Generator, which is part of the DFS Dominator on our website, playerprofiler.com. So get a hold of that package. It's currently only $85 for the whole package. Gets you set up with DFS, obviously, fantasy lineups, but also you can get the Underdog Pick Generator. And we're about to talk some Week 10, talk about the slate. And before, we have things moved on us, already. It's a glorious slate. Even though the Chiefs and the Eagles are on bye, there's still a lot of potentials for good games. So I'll just let you kick it off. Trevor, where are you going with your first pick?
We're going double tight end this week. It's just a unique spot in its usage for me. One of the things I'm always trying to find is we're trying to find usage. We're trying to make calculated, educated business decisions here is how I describe it, right? We're trying to take the best math we have available and go there. And we're going to start off with the Hawkeye, Sam Laporta. Detroit gets a great matchup this week in terms of passing against defenses that are not good against tight ends. And Laporta, just like our next pick, has grown each week in his relationship with his quarterback. Goff has shown that he trusts him, where he's going, what he's going to be doing. As we saw the last two games, I mean, he had 6 receptions versus Baltimore. He had 8 versus Las Vegas. And the Chargers are actually worse than both of those teams versus the tight end. So Ahaan and I were both terrified this was going to not stay at 4.5. So I'm going to try to get it in somewhat quickly because I'm still terrified it's going to move while we're on the show. But things you really want to look at. He's averaging 7.5 targets a game. He is getting a 70% route opportunity while getting 22% of the team's air yards. He has a 73% catch rate. And more importantly, he is now getting a 20% first read percentage. So those are things I want to see, right? I want to see the quarterback giving him a first read percentage and seeing that, hey, he's getting 20, elite wide receivers usually get like 30. So, you take a Stephon Diggs and A.J. Brown, someone like CeeDee Lamb, they're, and they're usually in the low 30s. So if you can get a tight end, those are wide receiver 2 numbers. So I really like this. And the Chargers are just bottom feeders versus tight ends. They're bottom 10. They give up 10.4 yards per route. And they give up, it's almost tied for the top 5, but they essentially give up the 5th worst catch rate to tight ends. They have essentially Detroit has everybody healthy here. So I'm really excited just for this game in general because, right, we have Monty back season long. He's getting it this week. It looks like they decided, hey, we might want to use Jahmyr Gibbs too. St. Brown is healthy, ready to go. Jameson is here. Laporta is here. They're going to have to Los Angeles is going to have to pick and choose their spots. And I really like this opportunity, especially considering how much he's got used in this role this season.
I like it. And the reason I was afraid this might move to 5 during the show was because it's starting to get juiced up on the sports books as well. And obviously, if you're one of the viewers who are coming in, from my Twitter or from the Book It Sports family, you already know this is getting a lot of steam on the over 4.5 receptions. We know that already. So I actually, on the underdog pick generator, spoiler alert, I put in Amon-Ra St. Brown over 6.5 receptions. This won't be on my main card today, but that's a look I like as well. And in this matchup, I think both Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta can eat. And I was pretty split on which way to go for this. And I'm glad you're taking a stance on this. I think both can hit. You see Goff's completions line is now up to 23. And I don't see how he clears that unless, at least one of Sam Laporta or Amon-Ra go absolutely crazy on this Chargers defense. So I like against that Chargers defense that plays a lot of that soft zone. I love the pick with Sam Laporta.
They both can go higher, and that's only half of what he's currently projected for, right? Like they both go higher, and that's currently I like both of them in this spot. And then we're going to the Monday night game, get right spot, Buffalo Bills, the man, the myth, the legend, my favorite tight end in this rookie class. If you've listened to me at all preseason, you know how much I have futures on this man. I love Dalton Kincaid. I love him like Arthur Smith likes misusing his top players. That's how much I like Dalton Kincaid. So why do I like Kincaid? I've said it from the beginning. He's clearly their wide receiver 2. And what you're seeing now is they're scheming in Shakur 1 week, Davis 1 week, right? Like these other guys are getting rolled in. And it's the Diggs and Kincaid show. Kincaid is only in line now for his routes 20% of the time. So 80% of the time, he is either in the slot or outside. That is a number you want to see for this, for a tight end. And you've just seen him grow Josh Allen's trust, right? So in case you've been on the mood, he is their wide receiver 2. Now, who do they get? They get the lowly Denver Broncos. Why are the Broncos so lowly? Well, they only give it up the most yards to tight end this season. They allow basically an 80% catch rate to tight ends. And Kincaid has a 93% catch rate, guys. He is the anti-Clifford Franklin from the replacements. He catches everything thrown to him. The last 3 games now, he has 75, 65, and 81 yards against 3 of the better pass defenses in the league. These weren't it wasn't the team he's facing this week. I just can't describe how bad Denver is. And I think one of the things you're going to see is they're going to try to keep Surtain close to Diggs, which is just going to open up the middle against this defense for Kincaid. The other thing I love in these last 3 games, he has 125 yards at Yak. That is 50 more yards than Diggs in the last 3 games, who is second there. And he's averaging almost 9 yards a target. So you give me a Buffalo team that needs this win. They don't just want it. They need this win. They get a great matchup versus Denver. We're doing the rookie tight end pick'em power hour pick for this week. Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid. I'm locking it in before it moves, and I'm hitting submit right now. I got it. I can't believe I got it because it's up to 137 at Caesars right now. I thought there was 0 chance we get through the show, and I had a backup in case we did, so I'm excited.
That was so surgical, dude. Not only do we have a theme here, we all love our little themes, but these are 2 guys that we've talked about on the show before, and we've talked on other Player Profiler shows before about how this rookie tight end class really is a class apart, no pun intended, from other rookie tight ends where you kind of have to clearly fade most of them. But, some of us are on Sam Laporta. I was one of those big Sam Laporta guys. You were one of the big Dalton Kincaid guys, and now we get to see both of them thrive. It's fantastic. I've tried to throw in some Luke Musgrave agendas as well. You're locking in half a unit. Sam Laporta over 4.5 receptions. Dalton Kincaid higher than 51.5 receiving yards. This looks like you're going to get back in the winning column. You've carried us for the first 7-ish weeks, and then you've been getting hooked lately. This is going to put you back in the winning column. Before I get into my picks, before we get into my picks, shout out Johnny Detroit. Probably likes the Sam Laporta pick. I want to remind everybody that Underdog is doing promos such as, once my laptop unjams, the $100K sweepstakes. If you haven't heard about this already, all you have to do is include whatever your $100K sweepstake is. I'm curious, Trevor, what do you have on the board today?
I have Tony Pollard, 92.5 yards. Here's my worry. I worry DeVito starting for the Giants. I worry they murder him they murder them so bad again that he actually they haven't used Pollard when they needed to. He's either going to have 200 yards this game or 40. I just don't see it in between for Pollard in this game. They either just use him. I don't see how the Giants contend in this game. I like yours much better than mine.
Looks like we had a little mic pause there. I think I'm back.
Yep, you're back.
All right. So I do like Terry McLaurin this week, and it's not because I love the Washington Commanders. I think Seattle wins this game pretty handily, but I do think that in a negative game script, Terry McLaurin is going to get a lot of the prevent defense yards. He's going to be the first read a lot this week. So I actually do like Terry McLaurin this week. I'm going to be taking the higher, but not on my main card because you're going to be limited on these promos. The way you take advantage of this promo, the 100K sweepstakes, is all you have to do is include whatever. How about now?
I feel like Jim Harbaugh hacked your internet.
Yeah, this is this is kind of crazy. Well, hopefully we survive before I give out my picks. Real quick, how you take advantage of these promos? You put the yellow square in an entry, doesn't even have to win, and you get inputted into a lottery for thousands of dollars of winnings by Underdog. Go put whatever you have on the top into your entry list for this week. I'm personally going to be playing my Terry McLaurin higher with a few of my leans from the Underdog pick generator. So you can go check out what I have there. And also, this weekend, Saturday night, go check out the Dominator. If you have questions for your fantasy football lineups, go check out the Dominator so that you can talk about some lineup questions with our boys Billy Musi and Broadley Stalter, two legends in the business. And also Sunday at noon Eastern time, check out the Player Profiler YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, start streams, wherever you are. We're live on Sunday at noon to answer your start sit questions. So go check those out. But let's continue with my picks. And, I've hit 2 entries in a row. I'm getting a little cute this week. Hopefully it doesn't come back to cost me. You gave out such a nice card, Trevor. I feel like I need to cook up for the sickos here. Neither of my picks are hires. So it's time.
I like it.
It's time to get a little ugly. Now I'm sticking with a tight end theme. I'm taking Jake Ferguson and I'm taking his lower. So you just mentioned exactly. It's a perfect segue into this pick because I think the Dallas Cowboys absolutely destroy the New York Giants. But even if they don't, I think we have some life on this one. Now, Jake Ferguson, let's talk a little bit about his profile. You go to his Player Profiler page, and you kind of just see exactly who he is, and it won't surprise you how he's been used this year. Not a great athlete. He was a 4th-round pick. And you look at the ADOT, ranked number 31 among NFL tight ends. This is not a good athlete. This is not a great player at tight end. He just happens to get a lot of that red zone usage because Dak loves his tight ends. Pause. But he does get a lot of that red zone usage. That's not going to help a lot with the receiving yards. This is a guy who could get like 5 catches and still stay under this pretty easily. If the Cowboys boat race the Giants, well, they might just not pass as much to Jake Ferguson late in the game because 69% of his targets this year, 69% of his targets this year have come in a 1-score game. So he gets scripted out if it's a blowout. And we've seen a lot of these blowouts this year for the Cowboys. They played in very few normal game scripts, and this might be one of those game scripts again. He's stayed under this line in 2 out of 5 of the Dallas wins. And early in the game, even when it's not, a certified blowout yet, the Giants can be beaten in a lot of ways that's not Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson's far from the first option on this team. The first option is either CeeDee Lamb or running the football because that's what Mike McCarthy wants to do. The Giants rank number 22 in run stop win rate, number 23 in rush EPA per play allowed. Tony Pollard should be able to run all over the Dallas Cowboys, run all over the Giants early in the game. And CeeDee Lamb, well, he's just a mismatch on most people, but definitely against his Giants secondary, I don't see anybody stopping him. So Jake Ferguson shouldn't be a top 2 option early in the game and might be completely scripted out late in the game. He stayed under this line, usually unless the Cowboys are in a close game. This is a good spot to sell high after a career night last week against the Eagles in a close divisional game. So I'll take the lower on Jake Ferguson. I posted this on Twitter earlier today, and I see everybody in the comment section absolutely hate it. So I feel great about this lower sell high on Jake Ferguson.
I love it when everybody's like, it's the worst. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah. Like you can't judge it based upon one game. And in case you guys are unaware, Philly actually has given up the most passing yards in the NFL this season, guys. Mm-hmm. That's why they made the trade they did a week and a half ago. Like, they're struggling defensively through the air. The problem is here, who do they have? I don't know that DeVito can throw a forward pass at this point, right? So they're just not right. So what are they going to do? They're going to stop Barkley. Like, we saw what they did to him in that first week. I think this is close to a similar type game where it's just absolutely gross. Dallas wins by a bazillion. I love the lower here.
And this exact matchup happened in week 1. Well, not this exact matchup. Actually, even worse. We had this matchup of teams week 1. Daniel Jones was not playing well when healthy. He came back last week because the Giants just didn't want the embarrassment of starting Danny DeVito. So DeVito should not be starting in the NFL. It just is what it is. The fact that Daniel Jones was starting that game when he's not healthy just should be proof that they don't feel great about DeVito. So yeah, hopefully the Ferguson gets scripted out, but even if not, he's a short route guy, so hopefully we can get the lower there. And I'm pairing this. You already see the menu. I went to this strategy once earlier this season, didn't work out, and I guess I'm happy it didn't, because I'd like to say that I'm taking credit for the resurgence of Jahan Dotson, because we faded Jahan Dotson a few weeks ago, and this was the week he just rose back into relevance. Now, maybe I'm doing reverse psychology here, but I'm semi-fading Calvin Ridley this week while also backing Christian Kirk against your 49ers. Go to NFL, go to Rivals instead of the higher-lower menu. Type in the Jags or Christian Kirk, and I'm taking the Christian Kirk higher on receptions if I could ever find it. Christian Kirk. The higher on receptions than Calvin Ridley.
I actually love that this week. There, we've seen who a safety blanket is. So we've noticed that. We've seen how it goes.
Christ, Jesus
there
Christ!
We go.
God damn it! All right. This is
if
worse.
You guys are listening. It's a comedy show right now with Ahaan's audio, so please forgive us. He's working on it.
Good thing this is not a podcast. It's only the bonus show. But this is worse than when I tried to play the air horn sound effect while you were talking. Anyway, the 49ers fan approves of this, so I like it a lot. So for this to hit, all we need is for Christian Kirk to have more catches than Calvin Ridley in Week 10. It doesn't matter if Ridley has 2 and Kirk has 3. It doesn't matter if Ridley has 7 as long as Kirk has at least 8. So here's the deal with the Jags. They're very good at football, but they're facing a 49ers team that's coming off a bye. And I would still argue, even though I've been very high on the Jags all season long, the 49ers, when healthy, are still at least one tier better than the Jags. That's why, even though the Jags are at home, they're underdogs. Now, if you look at Christian Kirk versus Calvin Ridley and the whole debate that's happened this offseason about whether Calvin Ridley is going to be the guy or Christian Kirk is going to be the guy, volume-wise, which is what this play is about, it's Christian Kirk. Kirk has out-targeted Ridley so far this season, 60-58, and he's out-caught Ridley 43-33, and that huge discrepancy comes from the fact that Ridley is usually the big play guy, while Kirk is the get-me-a-first-down safety blanket, as you mentioned, guy. And the Jags have only lost 2 games this season. In the first loss, Ridley had 2 receptions on 8 targets, and Kirk had 11 receptions on 14 targets. In the second loss, Ridley had 3 receptions on 7 targets, and Kirk had 4 receptions on 6 targets. This week, they face a San Francisco team. Well, what are they great at? They're great on the pass rush. That's going to get even better now. And their mild weakness has been the cornerback play. It hasn't been amazing this season, and specifically slot cornerback Isaiah Oliver. He ranks number 92 in catch rate allowed, number 88 in coverage rating by PlayerProfiler metrics. So Christian Kirk, that's who he's going to see. So in a game, coming off a game where Kirk only had five targets, when the weather was icky and the Jags were in a positive game script the whole time, we're going to see something. You should completely ignore that game. We're going to see a completely different game script. The weather is great, and the Jags probably going to be playing from behind because that San Francisco offense is amazing. So there's a reason that Christian Kirk over 4.5 receptions on the books is minus 160, and Ridley at that same number over 4.5 receptions is only minus 105 on the books. So the books think that Kirk is the right side to play here, and we're getting it at Pick'em. Take Kirk over Ridley. I love that as my rivals pair. It's going to finalize my card for half a unit.
I think one thing to add to that too, right? You talked about Chase Young getting added in. The one weakness on offense for the Jaguars is their offensive line pass protection, and add that in, right? I mean, Kirk's going to be their reception, target when they're getting after him. So I think he brought us some good points, and the 49ers, as pains me to say, is we are terrible from the slot. So it's literally been not great. So it's I like that. I like that we got these locked in. That's an interesting play.
Yeah, I mean, you had the beautiful looking rookie tight end entry, and I have this. So hopefully we can cash in both on both of those tickets. You know, yeah, you went on in a huge hot streak. I started to heat up a little bit recently. I think it's time that we go 4-0.
Yeah, we're due for a 4-0.
We will see you next week after this glorious Week 10 slate. Stay tuned on the Player Profiler, network for all the shows that, the aforementioned shows, but also stay tuned in the Discord for more content. Go to the Pick'ems channel in the Discord, find out what we're up to there. We're probably going to have plays for prime time, just like we did yesterday. I mean, we had plays for Panthers, Bears. You can bet we're going to have plays for, more primetime games down the line. But we'll see you next week for the Week 11 slate. Wednesday at 4:30 on all Player Profiler networks. We'll see you after the 4-0 card.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.